for your continued effort on holding these hearings. It means a lot to me and so many other families. Thank you for the panel for being here too, and sticking with us. It's been a long day, and so I do appreciate it. Stacy, thank you for working with us on the IHS task force, coming in and talking to the staff just Monday, and educating us and working with us, trying to figure out how we can help better serve Indian country as a whole. And as you said in your testimony, that it's disproportionate high of accidental overdoses inside Indian country. I represent the great state of Oklahoma. I'm Cherokee myself, and you know, I have the highest Native American population of any district, and so this hits home really tough. And you know, part of what we're trying to do is make sure that it's not overlooked. Tribes are unique because we're considered sovereign nations, and so by getting funding to Indian country is vitally important, because most health care for Native Americans are done within the IHS system. That was a federal government obligation through the treaties to which they were signed. And I understand most people don't understand that, but it's where I grew up my whole life. I'm still living in Indian country, still live at the same place I was raised, and my family was raised. We're generational there. I got a question for you though. What are the benefits to direct funding the tribes throughout this program?
Thank you, Congressman.
No, thank you.
Well, first of all, directly funding the tribes upholds the federal government's trust responsibility, and as you so eloquently expressed, the promises that were made in the treaties to the tribes. The trust relationship that is established through the Constitution, federal law, and so forth is a relationship between the federal government and the tribes. When funding for programs is sent to the states with the hope, or maybe even the intention, that the state will share that funding with the tribes, there's no legal obligation and there is no accountability whatsoever on whether any of that money will reach the tribes. And that is largely because the trust responsibility cannot be delegated to the states.
Right.
It has to be honored at the federal level. So the benefits are tremendous. If I may, Special Diabetes Program for Indians, it's not a large investment from the government to the tribes, but it's a public health program that is taking the best of Western medicine and the best of tribal traditional practices and implementing a prevention and treatment program that is probably, after immunizations, the most successful public health program in the country. The tribes know how to do this.
Right. And I want to elaborate just a second on what you said. It's not their obligation. It is not the state's obligation. The treaty was made with the federal government, and it's not a handout. It's payment from land that was taken from the tribes for years and years ago. Right. And that obligation and that payment still stays in place. And for tribes to be able to ask the state for it, the state does look at it as it's not our obligation, and which it's not. It's not any fault to the state. Oklahoma deals with this in a very unique way. I have 19 different tribes just in my district, and we have a unique relationship with the states. But we do have to realize that through the grant programs, they need to be available to the Indian country also. So one more question for you. Can you discuss the technical challenges that we have that's hampering Indian country with getting the data and the information that they need?
Yes, I can talk about that briefly. The health IT system in Indian country does not have great interoperability among the various electronic health records and so forth that the tribes who are self-governance may choose to use an application that's different from what the Indian Health Service uses, which is the RPMS system. And the RPMS system is, it's very cumbersome in terms of trying to extract data and trying to make the picture that you actually want to make out of the disparate ways that data is collected. There needs to be an investment in Indian country to advance electronic medical records. The agency, I believe, states it would require $3 billion over 10 years. Right. To bring that system into par with what the rest of America is experiencing.
Thank you so much. My time is out. Thank you, Stacy, again for working with us. Thank you, Chairman. I yield back.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Sarbanes.